Hi, good evening. My name is Jay Rothman, and I am here with my special guest this evening is Simon Gonzalez Jr. And the show tonight is about real men, real talk, getting raw. And we are live. I'd like to welcome Simon to the show this evening, and hopefully he's got his audio up.
Yep. How's it going, Jay? How are you? Nice to see you. I haven't seen you since December. And
Has it been that long?
yeah, it's been the last time I seen you. We were on the beach.
So we've actually passed through 2 seasons and we're into our third.
Yeah. There's no beach where you are at, from what I understand. Lots of waterways, though. Lots of waterways.
Yeah, some canals. But what has changed is the last time I saw you, you had a goatee.
Yeah.
I believe. And now I think you're growing a mustache and I'm growing a goatee. So we've kind of swapped a little bit.
Yeah, I get like that every once in a while. I'll start wanting to shave, or I'll grow the goatee or the mustache, and I get bored with it and I shave it off.
There you go. I'd like to welcome our Facebook Live participants and friends and guests that have joined us so far. Welcome to the show. While we're waiting for more people to join us, I would like to recognize Mary. Hi, Mary. Hope you're doing well listening. And Ellen Hardy, thanks for joining our show tonight. What I'd like to do is kind of talk a little bit about the different what I'll call topics that I'd like to see if we could dive into this evening on Real Men, Real Talk Raw. Well, one of the topics, and they're not in any order, is one is Real Men Do Cry, getting vulnerable and intimate. What does that look like, and what does that feel like for you and I? Facing medical diagnoses head on. The next topic would be recovering from broken marriages. After that, we've got healing our masculine souls. And then the last one, which may in fact be the first one to open up with, is how is life different for you today? What are you doing differently that has had the most impact on you and your life today? And so as more guests come on, I'd like to at times I'd like to invite you to hit like, love, comment, ask questions. This is not a dialogue. This is a conversation between Simon and myself, as well as all of you that join our show this evening. So please feel free to chime in, ask a question, hit us with a comment, hit like, hit a love, and please engage in the show with us. Linda, welcome to the show as well. So Simon, it's been, like you said, December since we have seen each other physically. Although most of the people that may be watching on a live or on a replay are not aware that Simon and I met each other within the past couple of years. And so he's someone that I met and has become a good close friend of mine. And so we've been navigating life separately on our own separate journeys, but very much connected on many intimate levels. And so Mary Kelly says, hi, Simon, you look great. And Linda says, hi, Jay and Simon. Hi, Linda.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I feel great.
Yeah, so how are you feeling?
Well, today I can tell you that you asked about what it took, how it is today for me, and how I got there. And I'm going to be straight out. I started leaning into my faith and walking in God's grace and accepting that, and that being, accepting that, that I didn't have a faith foundation at all. And so my life started to change when I got down on my knees and started to pray. And it's just been the most amazing experience. And, it has changed my life profoundly. And it has given me peace and calm, and an understanding of the miracles of all that God has given the opportunity for me to experience today. So today I'm just, it's an amazing journey. And I was reflecting on how, when I came here in December, about how emotional and how confused I still was. But when I got here, it just gently started to work its way through, and that's where I'm at today. It's just really, really an awesome feeling today. And I wouldn't be where I am today without God's grace and God's blessing. I'm so glad for that.
Well, Simon, my sense is that it wasn't always that way.
No, oh, no. I was the typical controller, I guess. I don't know. It was tough. You know, the thing about it, Jay, is for me as a man, I was taught to just provide, get it done, fix it, provide, to do what you need to do. And what I didn't realize is just how frightened I was of that issue. I was afraid to tell people, that I was afraid and that I didn't know. And so I forced myself to figure it out. And, it was tough. It was tough. And I began to believe my own craziness at one point. So, but when it all came together, the realization of me leaning into my faith and to understand who I was and what had happened to me was, all based around my faith. And it opened the doors, so to speak, to my path to not only serenity, but my recovery as I am today. That's what that's about.
How is your life different for you today?
Well, today I have such a sense of peace, a sense of safe. I use the word safe, and a lot of times when I'm speaking or I'm blogging, how safe I feel here. And safe for me, I'm a man of 64 years young, and I've gone through some pretty challenging challenges. And what I do know that I was afraid, and that was really hard just to accept that how can I be afraid of things? And why should I be afraid of things? I didn't understand. So today I'm safe. I feel safe. I'm in a situation where I have effective, loving communication with people that care about me. And I have surrounded myself with people that are like-minded and have a spiritual foundation that I agree with, and we can talk about those kind of things. And sometimes it gets pretty tough. We're not perfect, but the beautiful thing about it is that I feel safe enough that I can say, hey, can we talk about this? And let's try to figure this out together. And that's where I'm at today. That's really awesome.
So, yeah, there's so many different angles I could come in on right now.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that I've experienced with you in our friendship is your willingness to show vulnerability, and which when you do that, it inevitably leads to a level of intimacy between us, because the vulnerability is about the honesty. It's about being brutally honest and sharing exactly what you're feeling in that moment. Mm-hmm. And whether it be something coming from a place of just pure love and gratitude, or if it's coming from an old wound that has got you in a moment, let's say, tripped up. And when we're able to have that type of conversation where we're both willing to be honest and vulnerable, but also be willing to listen to each other's perspective. Because when you're in it, and I'm not, I'm able to see it from a distance and share my experience with you, how I've had to navigate through a moment like that per se, or how I've worked through that, and through that dialogue, through that conversation, through that intimate conversation and vulnerability, at some point we tend to connect soul to soul. And there's no guarantee when it's going to happen, how it's going to happen, how long it's going to take. But at some point, one of us gets emotional, and once we go there, it's like all bets are off. I mean, I'm crying and you're crying, and it's like we're two little, almost like just, it's like, I don't know how to describe it other than the way I just did. So I'm going to open it up to you to share from me before I open it up. What it does for me, Simon, is by the time we're done and we say, look, we got to go, we got to get back to work, we got to get back to our day or whatever's going on, I leave that experience with this entire feeling within my body of tingling. So I describe it as like a tingling sensation.
Yeah.
And I know we experienced something like that just this past few days ago. And it's a beautiful thing for me when I'm able to connect soul to soul and absolutely feel your heart, feel your soul, feel your love, feel your pain in that moment, and kind of hold hands walking through that experience. It's unlike anything I've ever experienced in my life, especially with a man, because I didn't grow up being taught like it's okay for men to be vulnerable. It's just not what we did.
No,
I don't think it's pretty regular in this society. So open up. Tell me what's going on.
Well, I was afraid, man. I was afraid. It just seemed like everything just, I'll use this metaphor in all respects, to anybody that's ever been in this real life situation, but it was like explosions going off. And for me, it was like this explosion went off and I couldn't hear, I couldn't see, I couldn't understand what was going on. And the thing about my emotions is that I had suppressed them for so long because I thought that's what I was supposed to do. And but the bottom line is I was frightened, and I had never experienced this before, and I just felt like there was no one to go to, no one to really understand about what I was feeling. And it was so hard for me to I just wanted to be heard. I wanted to let people that loved me and that I perceived that were doing things to me that just hurt me and it scared me. And I wanted to understand, but it's this bomb went off and they kept going off. And through the process, I just ended up getting more frightened and more afraid. And I've learned that when I get frightened, I get controlling. And I was having problems trying to communicate, and nobody wanted to communicate. This is all the things that I was feeling, and I was sad. I was tired. I was working 2,000 miles away, and I was going through some serious personal issues, and I was under some tremendous stress. We were coming out of some things, and I just I kind of let my emotions go. There's this little kid in me, my inner child, I call him, and he pops up every once in a while. And when that first started happening, it frightened me. I just didn't understand. And I later came to believe that it was about, it was time for me to grow up. And, luckily for me, I have friends that I reached out to or was able to reach out to, you being one of them, and help me understand. I went to meetings and people just embraced me. The whole situation was, I felt, I began to feel heard. And the thing that happened is when I began to share from my heart and let my emotions go, the strangest thing started to happen. I started to feel a little bit better inside, even if it was for an hour or even for 10 minutes. And that was healing in itself. And the opportunities and the revealing and all of that process was a very scary thing. And, it was tough. It was really tough. So I knew that if I could share from my heart and share what I was feeling, I didn't really think about people understanding that for me. I just knew that I felt a little bit better, and that, there were people there that had gone before me, and they understood me, and they made me feel safe. And that's what it was about for me, and that's how that started.
Simon, thank you so much for sharing it with all of us tonight. You know, what I take away from this exchange with you is that you grew up in a home where you weren't heard, your needs weren't being taken care of in a home. And it doesn't matter, we're not going to get into the reasons why, but you grew up and you survived your childhood, you made it through your teenage years into became a young adult, and those survival techniques that you mastered exceptionally well, well enough to be what I'd say successful in life, from a career standpoint, and you're also you just did what you had to do to get by, but you didn't know what you didn't know.
Right.
And that's the part about where you and I are at today is like, there's a saying, ignorance is bliss. And I remember one time listening to some guy that I knew or know, and he said to me, there's some things in life I just don't want to know. And I said, well, give me an example. And he was like, for starters, like, I just didn't want to find out that my daughter pimps herself for drug money.
No, my gosh.
And his heart was just broken for himself and I think for his daughter. And that resonated with me, and it has stayed with me, because what it means to me is like, it just comes down to, we don't know what we don't know until we know it. But here's the game changer, is that once we are enlightened and we have an opportunity, because we surrender, we're willing to surrender our old ways, our old belief systems, our old cultural beliefs as well, if they no longer serve us. And when we're willing to really go and start to really look inward at ourselves, and we hit our rock bottom, wherever that is, our life changes profoundly. And the fact that, first of all, I want to thank you for your willingness to come on the show tonight, because I knew it was I didn't think you'd say no, especially when I hit you with my my solid close, which was, Simon, you started Facebook Living your journey. I don't know how long it's been. It's about at least a year. And while you were doing that, I was in awe in your ability to have the courage to do that in such a very public modality in social media,
Well,
to share your experiences as they're unfolding on a daily basis. And I said to you at that time, I said, Simon, you know, what you do takes tremendous courage. And I just didn't have the courage to do that. It was so uncomfortable for me. But at the same time, what I was doing was I was able to express what I was going through on my journey through writing, through blogging, and push it out through the same social media modality that you utilize, which is Facebook. And so here we were, two adult men walking through and working through our pain and our healing process to really healing our mind, body, and souls, utilizing social media in two different ways. But what's happened since we had that conversation, I think it was about maybe July, August of last year, it was about a year now, we have kind of both become a hybrid. Mm-hmm. Whereas you now also do share some blogs and some writing on a pretty regular basis. Mm-hmm. And I've gone live on not sharing so much on my live Facebook feed, but introducing this platform, this show for men to come on and to share their stories and to share where they're at in their life and in their journey. Mm-hmm. And so first of all, I want to again thank you for being brave to come on. But I knew that I knew it would be very difficult for you to say no, because you are such a brave man in the way you have put yourself out here in such a very public way.
Yeah, there's people that think probably that I'm pretty crazy, and who cares what Simon has to say, but that's okay. The thing about it for me is that I knew that I was feeling better if I could share from my heart and the deep. I've had people come up to me and thank me for saying some of the things or sharing some of the things that I have shared. And it's painful, Jay. It's painful. And, you know, we men, we have pain and we want to be heard. You know, we're just like everybody else. We're human. It doesn't matter whether we're a man or a woman. When you lose loss of anything, a relationship, a family member, monetary things, whatever that is, it is devastating. And, you know, somebody once told me that, you know, when you lose a relationship, in my case, it was something that I had no clue of. I now, in retrospect, 3 years later almost, I can see it was gone. I can see what had happened. And I understand it much more. But it was that loss, and it was confusing. And I was afraid. And I didn't know how to express myself. And then when I started just, you know, like, help me, you know. And then, holy smokes, I got back from my job in Tulsa, and then I'm asked to deal with my health challenges, and that was, oh my gosh, that was totally frightening. But you know, it was the only way I could feel better for just a few seconds. And there was people in my life at the time that allowed me to share my feelings, you know. And there's times where I had, you know, I've broken down, you know. I'm sad when it happened to me. And, you know, nobody should experience some of these things. And, you know, I'm just not the type of guy, if I'm going to ignore it and be mean about it, you know, I can do really good at that, but that's not who I am. I've never been that way. You know, I didn't know what I didn't know. And it was like sometimes things were hurtful. You know, I didn't understand comments when people would say, "How long is this going to take for you to get over?" You know, they'd say things that were hurtful, and I just couldn't bring myself to lash out. I just wanted to understand. I wanted to. I love people. I don't. I don't want to hurt anybody. Uh, and it's when you're fearful, it brings on some terrible, terrible anger. And today, today I posted about taking the phone out of the bedroom. You know, that phone was glued to my head almost. It's just a terrible, terrible feeling to not being able to be heard. And I'm glad I have feelings, and I'm glad that if somebody out there uh, can understand that we men have feelings, we get afraid, and we want to be heard. We're not
Mm.
special. We just, you know, we we feel things, and we want to understand, and we want a life of peace and serenity, like we all do. You know.
Simon, I'd like to interject here if you don't mind. I love what you just shared. I mean, it doesn't, you can't get more vulnerable and intimate in this moment with me and those that have joined us live and on the replay. I want to share just a few things that I heard from you when you talked about being able to be heard and being able to feel your feelings. I think that what it comes down to for so many men is, and for women too, but this is a men's show, and we have beautiful women that are participating this evening, and I thank you for being here because we get to learn from each other through this experience. But what I do know is that we need to feel that we're in a safe environment where we can express our feelings and our needs, our wants, our desires, our fears, our joys, our hurts, our pains, and in an environment where we're not going to be discredited, where the recipient doesn't receive it in a way where they feel like we're we're accusing them or attacking them, and somehow it gets twisted into a, a disagreement as opposed to feeling safe to just be heard and listen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the biggest challenges in so many relationships that we're challenged within. And what you have experienced in the last couple of years is you have found spaces and places, people, places, and things where you can come, where you can go, where you can be to be who you are. And, you know, one thing I do want to say is that when we talk about feelings and being able to express them, it's not just the negative ones. It's not just the pain. It's not just the hurt. It's not just the anger and resentment. It's the feelings of just pure inner peace, inner joy, inner bliss, love, gratitude. You know, when you and I are able to have a conversation like we're having now, and I guarantee you that when we're done with this broadcast, my body is just gonna be elevated and floating. It's unlike, like I said, it's unlike anything I've experienced. And I think what that is just that when we feel safe and we feel we're able to talk and be heard, it changes every aspect of our life.
Yeah, and it's an amazing opportunity to be able to get in a space like that. It's so healing and accepting. You know, it's some people say, "Well, that's pretty brave." No, that's my truth. That's your truth. You and I sat out on the beach. You and I were told things that we didn't want to hear. We experienced things that we didn't want to experience. We participated in things that we probably shouldn't have participated. We had to learn our part. We had to learn all of these things. At the end of the day, we have feelings. We made mistakes. We're not perfect. You know, I got to remember that, you know, there's two sides to this story, even Simon's story. And I have to have much respect for that other side. And sometimes it's difficult, but it's all about understanding who I am and how I want to live today. And, I have compassion and I have understanding. I get angry, and sometimes I'll say things that I'm feeling, but it's my truth. And then I understand, that maybe I should kind of back it off because I feel it's not appropriate. And I'm all about trying to understand and forgive and accept. I still struggle with
Boom.
that.
Yeah, you just nailed it right there, Simon. Forgive, and not necessarily forget, but let go. Because here's what I've learned in my own healing process is that everything that happened beyond today, meaning in the past, is gone. It's over. It's done. Whether it was all the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we can't change any of those outcomes, any of those things that we did that were hurtful, as well as any of the things that our partners did, our wives, our past girlfriends, even our siblings and our parents. We can't change any of that. It's done. And when we stay in the past, in pain, in anger, it takes, first of all, what it does is it keeps us in a place of dis-ease that leads to disease. That's number one. And the second thing is that we miss out on today, which is the present, literally today. And the second part of that is that when we go out to the future, which is what I refer to as future tripping, we also miss out on the gifts of today because we're not here. We may be here physically, but mentally and emotionally, we're out a week, we're out another day, we may be out another year, or we may be out 10 years. But we miss the gifts of today. And so it's so key that the only way that I was able to navigate to a place of forgiveness, not only for the people that hurt me in my life, but also for myself. Forgive myself for all of the sins that I participated in, all of the behaviors that were unhealthy on my part, but to forgive myself for that, because I could easily, if I want to live in guilt and shame and remorse, I could go there. Remorse isn't as, I think, as unhealthy as guilt and shame, but there is nothing healthy about living in anger, resentment, guilt, shame, or blame.
No, actually,
and regret.
Yeah.
It's just it's not healthy. So
yeah, it's no, pain and regret is definitely not healthy for me today. It just doesn't work. It actually hurts my body. It physically puts me in a spot where it is very evident that I need to stay away from that part.
So one of my topics, Simon, was on healing our masculine souls. Can you hear? Are you with me?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Healing our masculine souls. And I want to ask you a little bit about that. What is it from your experience and perspective that that you think has allowed you to heal your masculine soul? What is the other, if you could hit on maybe 2 or 3 key points? I think you hit on one. The most important one is feeling safe to be able to express your feelings, your needs, your wants, your desires, your fears. All of that is through expressing yourself. Are there any other thoughts that come to mind as far as how you have been able to heal your what I refer to as your masculine soul? Because before you go there, I will say this. I'll give you a moment to think about that. Now, Simon is, when I met Simon, what I learned about Simon is that in his past, he was a bodybuilder. He was a power builder. He was a big dude in his day. Now, how tall are you, Simon?
Well, I'm 5'10" according to the doctors. I used to be 6 foot. I shrink a few.
6 foot tall. And when you were at your prime in bodybuilding and all, what was your weight?
Probably over 300, 325, 335.
So Simon is just by physically, he's got a very masculine physical stature. He's a big guy, and it just the beautiful thing about Simon for me is that when I'm able to have those moments of intimacy and vulnerability, and he just lets it go. He lets himself go in a healthy way with me. Mm-hmm. It just blows me away. It's so beautiful to witness, to see a guy who's bigger than me and invested a lot of time and energy and focus weightlifting. And I think competing at some point in your life, I believe.
No.
No, you never competed?
No, I tried several times, but there's a lot to that story. But no, I got pretty good shape. I was pretty good. I could never get to that point. I'm probably in a better place today physically that I could probably do that. But I would win anything at 65. Going through what I used to, what I've gone through. But
so here's my other point I want to raise about Simon. Why I have tremendous respect for you is that I meet all kinds of people just being out, living life, and you hear people say, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. We've heard that one forever. And I'm not insinuating that you're an old dog by any means.
Hey, I'm an old dog. 64, man, that's a long time.
But you reached a point in your life where you hit some sort of rock bottom. And you were this is only just 2.5, 3 years ago, that you at age 62 and a half or so realized that you needed help, that you could no longer just live in the survival techniques and tools that you had mastered so well, because they weren't working for you anymore. They were no longer working. What worked for your 60-something years was no longer working. Mm-hmm. And you were so desperate for relief, for help, for guidance, that you were willing to do whatever it took to get well.
The masculine thing is, for me, it just turned out to be my fear. I'm a pretty tough guy. I'm telling you that right now. I'm a pretty tough guy. I can pretty much take on and do anything that I set my mind to. But this situation that occurred, 34 months ago, was totally blindsided. I had a part. I had responsibility, and I had a part in this too. I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know what I didn't know. But the masculine thing, I don't know if I healed it. I just didn't really care at that point. All I knew that I was hurting, I was confused, and I wanted to understand. And I just didn't understand. And I had thought I had done everything right. I wasn't sure what to do at that point. I knew that there were certain things that really was spinning me out, and I wanted to learn about it. And I had to, go through that process of trying not to overthink it. Being masculine, hey, you want to get masculine with me? I can do that too, but that's not where I'm at today. Today, I want to understand more about who I am and accept things as they are. How important is it? Just how important is it to get upset about things that you have no control about? You call, you do, you make things work out. That's masculine to me, being mature and smart. Sharing from your truth, sharing your feelings, and understanding. It's when when I felt like I couldn't have that, there was no masculinity there. I was helpless. I was helpless. And I had to figure out how to work around that. That wasn't easy. It was really not easy.
Yeah, well, it's it's not easy, but the alternative isn't easy either, because living in pain and living in anger and resentment and living in dysfunctional homes is not good either. That's damn hard.
Mm-hmm.
So the alternative of taking a walk through the path that you have chosen to live your life today, although it is hard at times, with that comes a lot of new awarenesses. With that comes a lot of new understandings about truly who you are at your core, which is your soul. You mentioned your inner child, which thankfully your inner child is still alive, very alive. And boy, he comes out, as does mine, when sometimes we just don't want him to show up, and he shows up.
This guy, he's the cutest little kid, he's a version of me at 10 years old. And for me, I get this vision, and he just stands there or sits there and just looks at me and doesn't really talk to me that much. A few times he's asked me if it's going to be okay. He's asked me if I'm happy. And, I think that's another miracle of God, allowing me to really get into my faith and get into my feelings. And, I experienced a lot of things as a child. And, I get to grow up today, starting as a young man. And, a few days ago, we had this encounter. And it's like I shared, I was going down the path, and all of a sudden I hit this U-turn, and man, I got sucked right into this vortex of anger and resentment. And it was tearing me up. It was making me cry. It was making me angry. I was confused. And I remember I come uncorked at my buddy, Jay. And I so much love you for that, because you allowed me to express, man. It was like, Simon, do you hear me? Do you hear me, Simon? And I could barely hear you. It was like I said, these explosions going off. And then it says, Simon, where are you at today? Where are you at today? And I realized where I was at, and it made me cry. It made me scream out for help. And then it was that simple. If I'm to keep what I have today, and that's a life of peace and serenity, and I have a life and relationships that are foundational based, and if I'm to keep that, I gotta let it go. I don't have to accept it, like you said. I don't have to accept that behavior, but I have to be willing to accept it. Some are sicker than others, and I need to let that go if I'm going to keep my life today where it's at. And that is so beautiful.
Thank you for sharing that, Simon. It was. I want to comment on your share right now, but before I do that, I want to acknowledge some people that have commented on the show tonight. Okay. Mary says, we can all take care of that inner child now. It's so important. Deb G, I believe, says, perfectly human moment. And she goes on to say, I love that. And Mary says, I think she's referring to your inner child, Simon, that she sees in moments, and she says, still cute. Self-awareness equals self-care. Sharon Littman, thank you for joining us, my beautiful sister, joining us from the small city east of LA called New York. Thank you for joining us this evening. I know you are 3 hours ahead and it is late there, so thank you for being part of the show this evening. John Thaddeus Fiore, my man, says, letting go of what we feel, the expectations of a man are redefining them. What else does Mary says, forgiveness is huge, no more bondage. Yeah, when we're still living in anger and and resentments, we are living in that bondage. We're still there. We're still back there. And that keeps us in it. And until we let go and focus and work on forgiveness brings us to freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Anger keeps us in bondage and either keeps us sick or gets us sick. On all four pillars. I refer to the four pillars as there's the emotional, the mental, the physical, and the spiritual. And it's like if any one of those four come out of balance, your whole system's out of balance.
Mm-hmm.
And that one, let's say, leg or pillar, a column, if that's off, it's going to impact the functionality of the other pillars. And so it just totally takes you out. It takes every part of you out, your whole being, your soul, your physical, your mental, emotional. Mm-hmm. John says, love it, Jay, man. Thank you, John. I love you. I can't wait for the day that John and I are able to have a real live conversation. And that day will come, because when the time is right, I'm going to have John on this program.
Yeah.
And it's sooner than he knows it's coming. So, John, you just need to keep doing what you're doing and keep working at healing yourself, and you will be a guest on this show. No doubt. It's sooner than later. Linda Willis Tolstrup says, yes, men have feelings and they do want to be heard. John says, it's got me tapping here. Nice. Whatever we were talking about, he was tapping. Nice. He says, F the getting over, we are human.
No, let's not be getting nasty about it. It's, the thing about for me, and this is only for me, guys, I'm going to tell you this. Love will heal everything. And it's hard, and I'm telling you, I'm talking about true, on a pure love, God's grace of love, of what is, and all of the opportunities he has given us. So you couldn't tell me that 34 months ago, because I was one pissed off guy. But today, I gotta love the process. Everything that I have gone through, all of the sadness, all the crying, all of the challenges in my health, everything, the move, everything that I've done to be where I'm at today is all centered on a love of God and a love of self, and take the anger out of it all. And it's hard to do. Trust me. I just went through I went through 5 weeks of craziness, and I'm a rookie at this, but it's you just got to love the process, because if I didn't go through any of that, I didn't do the crying, I didn't do being afraid, I didn't do any of these things, I wouldn't be exactly where I'm here. And that's what Jay said. I need to leave, let that go if I'm to have, where are you, Simon? Where are you at right now? And, I'm in a better place than I was 34 months. And I was crying, I was screaming, God, forgive me, help me, guide me, show me, tell me what's going on, because I can't afford today to be upset and stressed. It's just not what I want to do, and the slightest little anger or resentment affects me. And so love what arises. There's a book that I read, and it's by Matt Kahn, Love What Arises, and love more of that. Really hard concept to understand, but when that happened for me, it's made a big world of difference. Start to love, and that's just it. It's has nothing to do with anything but respect for one another, and God dang it, we have feelings. We can fix anything, but we got to fix ourselves today, and we got to be heard. And that's just, if I'm to survive, and I am, this is about my survival, and this is about my health, and this is about me getting my stuff together and understanding who I am today. And I got to love myself, because if I don't love myself, how can I love anybody else? That's just how it works for me.
Simon, I want to share a few comments as you are speaking these words. The comment section is just lighting up like crazy. Keep hitting likes and loves, people. Thank you. John says, sweet. Jesus, thank you. They're all like-minded guys. Deb says, inspiring, good stuff. Mary says, empty that luggage. It's too heavy to carry. And Linda Reynolds, that beautiful angel of yours, says, so grateful you are where you are today. You know, I want to touch on the luggage comment, because I use that as a metaphor quite often in my life today and when I do coaching with my clients and all. But it's something I believe in so much, is that we grow up and we grew up in our homes, and we go through different levels of wounds and traumas, some small, some big, but there's still traumas, and we're affected by other people's behaviors, and then we bring that into our adulthood, and then we have luggage that we bring in, and then we get busy with life. We become adults. We get jobs. We get careers. We get into relationships. Some of us have children, and we keep having more what I'll call flare-ups in ourselves and in our relationships, because we're what I'll refer to, some of us, speaking for myself, I was a damaged man. I was a very damaged soul, and I didn't know it because I was just surviving in life. Well, what happened was I kept adding more layers and layers and filling up pieces of luggage with pain. And the seam bust out. And so what do you do when a seam busts out? You just buy another piece of luggage. And you just start filling the next piece of luggage. And before you know it, you've got a whole minivan of luggage filled. You got a whole room filled. You got a whole house. You've got 2,000 square foot of luggage filled with unhealthy memories, unhealthy behaviors, unhealthy pain. And that luggage that's the bondage, you know. And what we got to be willing to do is throw out that luggage. We got to be willing to toss it. We got to be willing to burn it, rip it out, take it out. But to do that, we've got to be willing to do the work, you know. But it's part of the work, because when we let that go, when we remove it, when we just say it's done, it's over, it's gone, I don't want to carry that luggage anymore, then we reach freedom. We reach freedom within. We reach love, true love of self, and then we can give it away. Like you give your love to me, Simon, I get to give it right back to you. Mm-hmm. When we need it and when we don't. But we always have a need for it. Who doesn't want it? We want to love and we want to be loved. That's what life is about. We just have not figured out as a society. And I'm generalizing again. Not everyone has this challenge, but I suspect a lot of people do, because we have divorce rates that are well over 50%. And of the 50% that don't divorce, how many of them just don't divorce because they're living in fear of divorcing and should be divorced? So I don't know what the percentage of healthy people really are in healthy relationships, but I know this: we all want the same thing. We want to love and we want to be loved. Some of us would just have unresolved issues and damages that we never work through. Well, it's time. Yeah. Go ahead.
It's about. If you want love, it's basic. And it's ridiculous as this sounds. If you want love in your life, the common factor in the challenging relationships that I've had through my life has been the lack of a spiritual foundation. That was the main factor that I came to the conclusion. And we don't know how to love. You know, for me, love is associated with a physical thing. As you're younger, you know, you hear it advertised, you hear this, you hear that. There's all kinds of things that happen, and all kinds of challenges of abuse, and all kinds of things happen. So we really didn't know, and I can say for myself, I didn't know. You know, I was actually very confused. You know, I thought I knew what it was about. I was totally not even close. So today I have a better understanding of love of self first, and love of being in God's grace. And when I started to get that understanding that to love Simon is to get to know Simon. And it wasn't for other people to do that, it was for me. So if I was to love myself, I needed to get to know who I truly was. And sometimes you get caught in that vortex and you overthink things. But at the very least, today, Simon is learning how to love himself, learning how to accept what is, learning to let go, know that I don't have to go back to certain things, but I can accept, what has happened today, and not to say tomorrow I won't go into another spin or something might else trigger me. But at the end of the day, if I'm to be important to me and to others that may hear something that I have to say, or some emotional thing that brings up something that maybe they're afraid to share, it's a beautiful healing feeling that you can finally be heard and you can finally let that out. And Jesus, it saves my life. Being vulnerable, being real, being truthful, being who I am, being with people like you, and we can sit there and we can talk, and we can talk the real talk, real men, real talk, and it's a good thing. And if nothing else, it's helped me get to where I'm at today, and I'm very happy with that.
Simon, I want to again thank you for joining our show this evening. We are almost out of time. I'd like to respect the 1 hour time. What we didn't touch on tonight was medical diagnoses and how we have both navigated through that. And so what I'd like to do is invite you to come back to our show, to participate and have an honest, vulnerable conversation about your medical diagnosis and how you are navigating, how you have navigated, and where you are at with that. And of course, I have had my medical diagnoses, which are very different than yours, but the same potential end result, which is could be catastrophic. So I would love to have you back when we could kind of dive into that area that we didn't touch on, which is so important. But I will say this, Simon, is that what I do know today to be my truth is that dis-ease leads to disease. The mind-body connection is so powerful. I know that when I found out about that Heal documentary that was coming out, I was so insistent in trying to convince you to invest the time to watch that documentary, and I know you did it. And I'd like to talk about that as part of our next discussion. Yeah. What your takeaways from that was? What's that?
That was an epic thing you got me to do, because that was something that I would have never done in the past. But the pure respect for what you were doing and showing me and teaching me helped me a lot. Actually, that really helped a lot. And we'll talk about that next time we get on the show. And thank you for allowing me to join your show. And I hope that if there was anything that I said may have helped anybody, that was my wish. I so much appreciate all the love and all the care that everybody has shown me. And today, I'm on the road to recovery in so many different ways. And it's about being truthful and loving self, understanding and accepting even the hard things. And I'm telling you, it's not an easy road, but feel the real feelings and be respectful and be kind and love it until it just cannot hurt you anymore. That's what my thought is for today. Anyway, so
Simon, thank you for closing our hour out with your true words of wisdom and experience. I love you like my older brother that I never had, and I feel safe to say that. And I am blessed to call you friend.
Jay, you're beyond friend. You're part of my recovery, my savior, an understanding that only somebody like you and myself can understand. And it's a very private thing. We're as masculine as we can get, but yet we're as soft as kittens, and we're allowed to have the feelings, and we cradle each other when we need to, and that's what real men do. Real men that care, people that love and care for each other in a true, authentic way. So I love you. Say hi to Mary.
I love you too, Simon.
And everybody out. Let's keep doing this. This is a great thing.
Okay, we'll have you back, Simon. Thank you for joining us this evening. Have a beautiful rest of the weekend or weekend coming up.
All right. God bless you.
All right. Bless you too. Bye-bye. Love you.